Hey friends, it was a nice day today. It was not humid. It was 85, 90 with little to no humidity, which means humidity was under 50%. So for you people that live in dry climates, 50% is probably a lot of humidity. For us, that is a nice day. So what do I have to report? We've lost some things in the garden. So we have issues with groundhogs, and we had this one fat groundhog that bee had trapped underneath the woodpile a few years ago. And so every time it would come in the yard, she would bark, it would leave. Well, this year we had like this new groundhog that is smaller and braver. Not scared of us, not scared of bee. Bee trapped it under the woodpile, and I was like, high hopes that maybe we'd be okay. Nope. That just pissed that groundhog off more. So it created tunnels over here. It created a large tunnel on this side of the fence and on the other side of the fence. So a bee kept hanging out over here, and I was like, something over there. And I thought it was just the bunnies. No. Then you'll see that we now have chicken wire up, but we didn't have chicken wire. And it got in here. First, it started eating the winter crops, and I noticed, and I was like, maybe the bunny is climbing up, because I didn't think that the groundhog was climbing up. And I noticed that there was leaves missing from the bottom of the cucumber plants, and I hadn't cut them, and I was like, that's interesting. And then I came home, and all of this was eaten. The okra, the calendula, all of the winter crops. They completely decimated. And I was like, there was more leaves missing over here. There was a large tomato had been cut off and left in the bed. That was green. There was damage over here, and I was like, that's strange. But everything is cordoned off, right? No. So that same day, my husband comes home, and I tell him what, there's damage. And he sees the groundhog climb into the raised bed. So it actually climbed up the raised bed, got in here, was eating more of what it had already decimated, right? So the okra, the winter crops, these are possibly Brussels sprouts. Maybe they were cauliflower, broccoli. I don't remember now. I don't know, because I can't tell what they are because it was completely been eaten. I probably will not get any crops off of these. So, yeah. And then the groundhog, the same one, climbed into these beds and was eating the kale and the tomatoes. Now my tomatoes are already struggling. You can see the disease on them. They're having a hard time because it's been really, really hot, really, really humid, earlier than normal. So tomatoes will show stress. And even like some of these, even the new growth is already stressed. Like it's really not getting a break. You could see on this one, all of the new growth is stressed out. It's not even putting out healthy new growth, which is not great, which makes me upset. But yeah, so it was eating cucumbers. It was eating tomato, squash. And it's kind of like really pissed off now because we put the chicken wire up and we reinforced this. So you can see that it made a hole over there. There's a hole. So it can come right back in here, and it's still attacking the tomatoes, and the tomatoes are already struggling because of disease and pests. So now I have the groundhog disease, pests. I had to do surgery on, we lost the Hubbard squash. I tried to save it, was not salvageable, unfortunately. And I started to see vine borer damage on my butternut squash. So I did surgery a few days ago. You see the blue tape where I take a toothpick, stab into where they've bored to grab the worm, take the worm out, kill it, and then wrap the wound. So I tried to do it with this white zucchini because they did find, I was hoping that they were not going to find any of these, but they did. And they made it over to the patio zucchini as well. So we had 5 zucchini so far, which is more than we had last year, but they're not really like growing, and the plants are already getting mildew. So it's trying. Hi, Mr. B on the Rosa Rose. I'll let you stay. Not the beetles, but you can stay. So it's been another season of lots of work, lots of trying to mitigate disaster, lots of competition for the food. Oh, there's the hummingbird. I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't think you can. But he just flew and he landed in a tree. He consistently, we used to have 3 that would come together, which was rare because usually they're territorial. And I haven't seen the other 2, but I have seen the one. But he's not staying as long as he usually does. I think it's because I put wind chimes out because I wanted to try to drown out the noise of the cars. But he's not a fan. So even though I have all of these hummingbird plants, and here's the bunny, not scared of me at all. Not scared of B either, even though B has killed siblings of this bunny. It's definitely something. So I was just grateful today that it wasn't beastly hot like it's been. We've had a few overcast days, not a lot of rain, some rain, not a lot. But the disease is running rampant. And I'm trying to keep up with the pests as much as I can. The evening primrose was in bloom. The green stalks, the lettuces are, they're bolting. I've ate a salad today. It was very bitter. It doesn't bother me. I'll eat it because I want to stimulate all my senses of taste, right? So bitter is one of those senses of taste. Mostly in our society, we look for sweet and salty. There's Japanese beetles right there. And we don't actually stimulate other tastes. There's some more there. So I'm going to go get the soapy water. Get those because best time to do it is the morning and the night. But I digress. So we want to stimulate all parts of the taste buds. Oh, and then the birds are getting the elderberries. So I'm trying to get out here and get what I can when the birds eat them all. Because I thought, I'll just leave these up here for the birds on the American. And they'll leave mine alone. No. And even this elderberry is looking rough. See, it's curling its leaves. It's got disease on it. That's not great. So I don't know if it's because of the heat. Could see the disease on those lower branches too. What's weird is that this one over here, the berries are not turning red. Some of them are turning white. I've never had that before. I don't know what that's about. But we've had the deer just hanging out back here. There's a few babies. And B just watches them. I'm okay with them. I just don't want the groundhog. This is the other place that it goes out. So the thing is that this groundhog is going to start to resemble the other one. But the other one always escapes through here. So that's why B hangs out over here. The little one escapes through here because there is another hole back behind all of that crap. So, yeah, that's your garden update. We are battling groundhogs, disease, pests, high temperatures, a little bit of rain. And the garden from here looks great. But then when you move closer, it's like a Monet, right? From far away it looks great, that painting. And then you move closer and it's just all a big blur. Or those pictures you used to look at, those images in the 90s that were like really, really blurry, but if you crossed your eyes and looked at it long enough, you could see whatever the message was, the hidden message, the hidden image. I could never see it. I didn't have patience for looking at it or crossing my eyes. It didn't feel good to me. But that's what it reminds me of. Oh, there's the hummingbird again. Maybe if we sit here quietly enough, we can see the hummingbird go by. But, oh, look, there's that mockingjay eating my elderberries. Get out! Out! So, because there's not enough food for them, because we don't feed them enough. My neighbor next door feeds them, puts out food, even though we have so many things that the birds can eat. And yet they still eat my food. They still prefer my food over the bird seed or the flowers that I leave that have seed. There's yellow dock. They could eat that seed. They could eat the mullein. They could eat the evening primrose. They could eat the chokecherry, the crab apples. Like, there's a ton of things they could eat that I'm willing to share with them. But no. They eat the things that I actually want to harvest or want to eat myself, like the blueberries and the raspberries and the blackberries. So this is the hard part of gardening, right? Is you put in a lot of work. You don't know what's going to happen. It's a surprise because the only thing in life that is consistent is uncertainty and change. And so even if you do everything that you can to try and predict and control and mitigate, and it doesn't matter, because then a groundhog will come in and eat everything, or you'll get disease early, or the pests will annihilate your plants, and Mother Nature will give you things, but it may not be what you expect it to be, right? So I expected to actually have squash this year, to be able to put some up for the winter, to be able to have some extra to do things with. And so far that has not really worked out for me. But I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep trying to see what I can do, what is within my control to work with Mother Nature, to be respectful of what she's trying to show me here, be open to the message, be open to the lesson, right? And this is mirrors healing. Our body is always giving us messages. It's always trying to tell us something. We don't understand it a lot of the times. We work against it. We think it speaks a foreign language, so we just try to make it make sense. We try more things. We try to control it, to submit the body to our will, right? We'll beat it into submission. We'll force it to do what we want it to do, and that never works, believe me. I've lived with chronic pain and chronic disease most of my life. It was not given a name until probably I was 30. But my whole life, I tried to submit my body into doing what I wanted to do. I tried to stay up later than it wanted me to stay up late. I tried to work out harder. I tried to ignore the pain, ignore when my body was breaking down, until I could no longer ignore it, until I had to actually pay attention, to surrender to it. So this is a great invitation for you to check out my newly published book, The Journal. No, the Journal. There's a companion journal too, The Journey of Unlearning to Regain Trust and Healing. And that book chronicles what I've discovered over the past 10 years of doing this healing thing, doing something different from the standardized protocol. I got off the merry-go-round to nowhere. I got off that hamster wheel of the rat race, right? Of doing all the things that everyone thinks you should do, what it's supposed to look like, what health is supposed to be defined as. For me, health is freedom. Health is the ability to live my life on my terms. Health is not the absence of symptoms. Health to me is actually acknowledging my symptoms because it's my body trying to get my attention. It's my body asking for help. So health is actually not pushing through, not beating my body into submission, not starving my body, not ignoring my body's messages. And that has allowed me the ability to speak with you, the ability to share these videos, the ability to write this book, the ability to help other people who are on the same journey and who are looking for the answers and maybe not in the same place that I did. And that's okay. You'll get there. And I'll be here to help you. Until that, see you next time.